Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm Sankaty4 and welcome to episode 3 of my top games of 2024. And today's list is a list that no game wants to be on. Today we are doing my top 5 biggest disappointments. Now, there are a lot of games that are out there that were bad. A lot I've played, and a lot I haven't played. These games are not going to be on here because they were bad. These games that I've picked today are games that I went into with high hopes, high expectations, and the thought that I was going to get hooked and be playing them over and over again. But instead, I went away and forgot about them. Just gone, puff, not even bothered about, didn't think a second thought about, and I was just really disappointed in them afterwards. So, I'll explain why each one's on the list, but without any further ado, let's get in and start with number 5, Manic. So, Manic is a bullet hell game with a GTA 1, GTA 2 top-down feel to it. All you need to do is basically just survive until the time ticks down. You play through, you die, you unlock new abilities, you get better stuff, and you try again until the time it hits 0. If you do that, well then the timer extends and you've got to try again. The only problem with that is, once you've got to a certain point, it's a waiting game. The timer just gets longer and longer. The difficulty doesn't change. It just stretches it out. So what may happen on the earlier playthroughs might take 5 minutes, and then the next level difficulty kicks in. Instead, you are waiting 20 minutes, and by that point, you've already killed a load of people, run over a load of things. If you know the map, you've gone and got the top weaponry, and you're going around in a tank against just normal cops. So there's nothing they can do, and I just think the balancing just didn't work later on. And if I'm being honest, I just got bored very, very quickly. I did play this a few times afterwards, but as I say, once you've gone through it, there's no need to go through it again with other characters. The variety in characters wasn't really that impressive. There was some slight differences, but nothing that was game-changing. All the characters seemed to be the same. And as I say, later on, you could get your personal health and your vehicle health so high you were practically indestructible. And yeah, I think that I just got bored. I mean, for some people that might be the perfect thing for them, but for me, I just really got bored. And the custom maps, what can I say about the custom map? It had some good ideas, but it just didn't work. I never actually got round to showing off my custom map because it didn't work. My ideas, my thoughts and plans, there was just things wrong with it. And whether that was just my own creative thinking or limitations on the game and the engine, I'm not sure. But even custom maps didn't do anything to keep this game going and make me want to come back. So unfortunately, yeah, this game now sits somewhere at the bottom of my Steam page. Completely and utterly forgotten about. Moving on to number 4. We have Sea of Mutation. A roguelike survival game again. This time as a fish or sea creature in a post-apocalyptic world where you need to survive, evolve, eat, and keep going for as long as you can. Again, bit like the first one we looked at, but yeah, this one, I went into it again thinking this was a unique take. This was going to be something really interesting and something that could keep me going for a while. But again, it just never did. A couple of playthroughs, a few successes, but there was nothing to keep me coming back. It didn't challenge me. It was difficult, but it was boring in the end. Again, another one where you thought it would be really enjoyable and challenging, but it wasn't. You either got so powerful nothing could do anything to you, or you got absolutely slaughtered. There was no in between with it. It was just the look of the draw and the cards, and yeah, it didn't matter. One playthrough, as I said, you could set yourself up, go through, and nothing could touch you. The next playthrough, you could go through, do the exact same thing, and you'd be slaughtered before you've even had a chance to evolve. And there was no tactics involved. To me, it just felt pure luck, and that's not what I like in a game. I like a game that has some skill involved. Don't get me wrong, having a game where if your luck's against you, then yeah, it's going to make it harder, but I want it that not even if you've got the worst luck in the world, if your skill's good enough, you can manage to get through it. So again, this was more luck than anything, and again, it just got forgotten about. It actually stayed installed for a while, but again, it was another one that I just forgot about until I needed some space on the computer, and that's when it got uninstalled. So unfortunately, yeah, Sea of Mutation is another one that I was looking forward to and just didn't live up to the expectations. Moving on to number 3, we have Aquatic Store Simulator. Now, we all know not all simulator games are created equal. Some are extraordinary. They are so much fun. Even basic tasks keep you coming back playing for more. Others, not so much. And then you've got Aquatic Store Simulator that sound really good. The fact that you're running a store, fine. But then saying you can get to decorate the store how you like. You get to decorate your own fish tanks, bring in exotic fish and sell them and have your fish repopulate, so you don't have to keep buying fish. You can just keep selling the babies off. It just all sounded so good. Until you got in and tried to play it and realised that you had no customization controls over the shop. Everything was where it was meant to be. You couldn't move it around and redesign it. The shelving was the shelving. The place where the tanks go were stuck there. And on top of that, the controls were clunky. And I don't mean clunky as in so fine that if you didn't do something right, it wouldn't fit properly. I mean, there were times where you could put something somewhere and then you'd put something else in that would knock the first bit, and then trying to get that first bit back to where you had it, it just would not settle. And I had to edit out so much frustration while trying to do just a basic tank. It's a little bit clunky for my liking. And then the shelves just looked empty no matter what you put on them. So it just looked like you had nothing there. And then on top of that, you had the issues with pricing. You never knew what price to set things at because there was no feedback. And customers wanted things that you just didn't have. Not because you didn't restock it, just because you hadn't bought it yet. They're asking for stock that you've never sold. So it just felt rushed. There was so much missing, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't sit with me. So yeah, unfortunately, add to that the fact that some of the customers looked a little bit janky as well, and that, yeah, the basket that you had to put items in, some of the items didn't actually fit in it, and you had to wiggle it about and try and use the physics to get it to fall in, for it to register that, you know, you'd scanned it and give it back to the customer. Yeah, it just didn't sit with me that well. So, unfortunately, I went into it expecting a lot and came out very disappointed, if I am being honest. Here we go. At number 2, we've got something slightly different now. And this one really gutted that it's on this list, but I just got bored with it. I'm talking about the settlement builder, New Cycle. Yes, I know I did a live stream on this, and don't get me wrong, it was okay, but it just felt like it was trying to be everything and ended up being nothing. So yeah, I don't know what to say about it, because again, we all know I love a good settlement builder, but everything just felt like it was spread out so much. They were complaining about things that I couldn't do anything about. Tech was coming in way faster than I could build anything, and yeah, it just felt like it wasn't finished to me. I think that was the biggest thing. It felt like it wanted to do things that weren't actually in the game. So I don't know, maybe it was just a balancing issue, maybe it was a me issue, but whatever the case was, yeah, it was fun to play, but it just didn't grab me like so many other settlement builders that I've played before. So unfortunately, yeah, I was very disappointed in this in the end, and I have to say, I did a live stream because I wanted to like it. I wanted this to be good, but unfortunately, yeah, it just never happened for me. So unfortunately, this gets runner up, and hopefully, as I say, things change down the line. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. I'm gonna hope that with a few updates and maybe some changes, that this one can make it back into a game that I really want to play. But at the moment, the way it stands, nope, this one's just going to be sitting there and forgotten about down the line. And here we are, the biggest disappointing game I've played in 2024. And I went into this with way too high expectations. I probably went into this with rose-tinted glasses on. I will openly admit that. Because I remember on the first episode of this, because this was actually a series, I just jumped straight into it as a series. I didn't even give it a look-see or anything beforehand. I got this and straight away jumped into it. And I remember saying on that first episode, this was going to be in my top 10 games of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm Sank84 and welcome to what I am sure is going to be the greatest game of 2024. This was going to be high on the list, and it was going to take something special to knock it out of my top 10. Well, the thing that knocked it out the top 10 was the game itself. I am talking, of course, about Stargate Timekeepers. Yes, as a huge Stargate fan, I am a gator through and through. There is no other sci-fi series that can beat it, in my opinion. You've got your Trekkies, you've got your Star Wars geeks, and then you've got people like me who love Stargate. Just to give you an idea of how much I really love the show, I have every single episode of SG-1 on DVD. I've got every single episode of Atlantis on DVD. I have every single episode of Universe on DVD. I even have every single episode of the animated series Infinity on DVD. That nobody ever talks about the animated series. Okay, it's a bit wacky. It's not exactly Stargate. It's a completely different take on it, but I don't care. It's still Stargate, and I still love the series. I've got the original Stargate film on DVD and VHS. Yes, that old school device that I can't even use because I don't have a VHS player, but I've still got the original VHS from when the film was first released. And of course I've got the other films on DVD as well. So yes, I love it. I even played the Stargate game back on the Sega when it came out for that, and that is how long I was waiting for this. There have been so many Stargate games announced and forgotten about, dropped, pulled, whatever you want to say, and I have got my hopes up for every single one of them. So when I saw this, I was excited. I couldn't wait. And the more and more I saw it, the more I followed the devs and the progress of it, the more excited I became. And then it dropped. And the bubble burst. I've not been this excited for a game since Fallout 4 was announced. And this just destroyed everything. There is nothing Stargate about it. The Stargate concept is there, but I mean, there's no actual Stargate in it. There is no Stargate command. There's no... I don't know. It's as if they thought, you know what, we want to build a stealth game. But what can we do? I know. Let's put a Stargate skin over it all. And we'll say it's a Stargate game. There is nothing Stargate about this. The missions don't make sense. I thought after the first one, the first mission was based during the events of SG-1. So I assumed, given it the thing, we were going to be playing an SG team that was going alongside the SG-1. Their own missions, their own storyline, but you were going along with what they were doing and things like that. But no. There was just no correlation to the Stargate franchise. You jump from one mission to another and they seem to have no correlation. There were no follow-ups, there was no story arc. It was just, right, mission 1, do this. Mission 2, do that. Something completely different. But there was no correlation between why you were doing one thing and then going off to do another. It was just random missions, and it just didn't feel right. There was so much this game could have had. Start you off at the SGC and have you go out through the gate on missions. Yes, have some stealth missions where you've got to sneak in and, you know, rescue somebody or sabotage a gold barracks or, you know, something like that. Fine, have them. But then have your diplomatic missions where you go out and you have to be diplomatic and sort things out. Have a science mission where you've got to go out and figure a problem, an archaeological dig, and you're trying to figure out how to open a secret tomb or something. End up on a golden mothership trying to get out alive. I don't know. There's just so much this could have had, and it just didn't have it. There was nothing there, and you can probably tell how much this game let me down because of how long I've been chatting for. I can rant about this for hours, but the last straw for me was the glitchy bugs. There was a few of them, and I managed to avoid bringing them up during recording. I could get around them and hide them. However, there was one that just became impossible to get past because it was right at a key point and you had to deal with that one stupid enemy who just didn't want to register as dead. So yeah, we were trapped, and even restarting the mission, I couldn't get past it. And that's what killed the series off. But I will admit, I didn't really want to carry on. I was playing this by the end just to keep it going. I didn't want to just pull the plug for no reason because I wasn't enjoying it. Because honestly, I was not enjoying playing it. But enough ranting now about that. Let's leave it there. They are the 5 biggest disappointments. As I say, there were a lot of games I could have put on here. There were plenty of bad games. But a lot of them bad games, I didn't have any expectations of. They just were like, you know what? Alright, I'll give it a look-see. I'll give it a try. Why not? What's the worst? I mean, it's fine. But that's it for now. And that is now my list as good as done. We have done the games I wish I'd got to play. We've done the demos of games I'm looking forward to that are hopefully going to be out next year. And now we've done the games that have let me down. That only leaves one list left to do. And that will be out same time tomorrow. I am talking about my top 10 games of 2024. That list will be out tomorrow. And there are some, well, there are some surprises on there, I will say. There are some games that really got me hooked, and there are some games that are a bit lower than I was actually expecting them to be when I played them. So, I hope you'll join me back here tomorrow to see which games I've played and enjoyed playing the most in 2024. But in the meantime, I've been Stank84, and this was the top 5 biggest letdowns of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. Look after each other, and until next time, goodbye.